Ladies and gentlemen, we often live under the illusion that we must control every detail of our lives. The mind, conditioned by past experiences and future anxieties, constantly seeks certainty. It wants to predict, manipulate, and shape outcomes according to its desires. Yet, in this endless striving for control, we create suffering. We resist what is, believing that things should be different, should happen faster, or should align with our own expectations. But life does not move according to the mind's demands. It unfolds according to a higher intelligence, one that is not bound by human impatience. Imagine standing in front of a vast ocean, attempting to command the waves to move according to your will. No matter how much effort you put into directing them, the waves continue their rhythm, guided by forces far greater than human control. This is how life moves, on its own time, in its own way. The illusion of control makes us believe that if we try harder, worry more, or plan obsessively, we can force things to happen. But in reality, the more we resist the natural flow, the more we suffer. When something we desire is delayed, the mind interprets it as a failure or a punishment. It asks, "Why is this not happening for me?" Or, "What if it never happens?" This anxiety arises from the false belief that we are solely responsible for orchestrating every event in our lives. But there is wisdom in the unseen forces guiding our existence. What seems like an obstacle is often a redirection. What appears to be a delay is in truth a preparation. When we do not see immediate results, it does not mean we are forgotten. It means we are being aligned with something far greater than what our limited perception can grasp. Consider a seed planted in the soil. If you were to dig it up every day to check its progress, you would only hinder its growth. It must remain underground, unseen, in darkness for a time. To the untrained eye, nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, roots are forming, strength is being built, and soon the first sprout will emerge. This is the nature of divine timing. Just because we cannot see progress with our eyes does not mean progress is not happening. Many of the most profound moments in life arrive not when we demand them, but when we least expect them. The right opportunities, the right relationships, the right answers. These come in their own time, often in ways we could never have planned. And when they do, we realize that, had they arrived earlier, we might not have been ready to receive them. Surrendering the illusion of control does not mean becoming passive. It does not mean we stop taking action. It simply means that we move with life rather than against it. We do our part, we put forth effort, but we release the need to dictate how and when things must unfold. We trust that if something is meant for us, it will come, and if it does not, then something better is on its way. This shift in perspective brings profound peace. When we stop resisting the present moment, we begin to see that everything is happening exactly as it should. Even delays and disappointments have their purpose. They teach us patience, resilience, and trust. They prepare us for what is to come. If you find yourself struggling with timing, pause. Take a deep breath. Recognize that your worry does not change the course of life. It only disturbs your peace. Step into the flow of existence, knowing that what is meant for you cannot be rushed or forced. And when the time is right, everything will come together effortlessly, as it always does. The present moment is all there ever is. Yet the human mind often resists this truth, constantly pulling us into the past or projecting us into the future. We live in anticipation, believing that fulfillment lies in what is yet to come. We measure time by our desires, waiting for things to happen, longing for certain outcomes, believing that peace, happiness, or purpose exist somewhere beyond this moment. But life does not unfold according to the mind's expectations. It moves in alignment with a greater intelligence, and when we learn to fully embrace the now, we begin to see that everything is already unfolding exactly as it should. Most suffering arises from our resistance to the present. We label circumstances as good or bad, right or wrong, based on our limited understanding. We view delays as obstacles, unanswered prayers as disappointments, and uncertainty as a threat. The mind demands answers and certainty, believing that if only it could predict the future, it would be at peace. But true peace does not come from knowing what will happen next. It comes from realizing that we do not need to know. It comes from trusting that what is happening now, however it may appear, is exactly what is meant to be. Imagine standing before a vast tapestry. If you look only at a small portion of the design, it may appear chaotic, fragmented, without meaning. But when you step back, when you see the entire picture, the beauty and harmony become clear. Life is much the same. In any given moment, we see only a fraction of the greater plan. The mind may perceive disorder, but from a higher perspective, everything is in perfect balance. Nothing is random. Every event, every delay, every redirection is part of a larger unfolding. The power of presence allows us to move beyond the mind's need for control. Instead of resisting what is, we begin to observe it with curiosity. Instead of anxiously waiting for things to change, we become fully aware of what is here now. When we do this, we start to notice something profound. There is never a problem in the present moment. Problems exist only in the mind's interpretation of what should be different. If we let go of this mental resistance, we see that everything is simply unfolding, moment by moment, exactly as it must. What we call delays are actually divine alignments. We may feel that something we deeply desire is taking too long, that life is not moving at the speed we expect. But if we were to look deeper, we might see that we are being prepared, strengthened, or guided towards something even greater. The seed does not resist its time beneath the soil. The caterpillar does not rush to leave its cocoon. They follow the timing of nature, trusting that when the moment is right, transformation will occur effortlessly. We can learn from this. Instead of constantly asking, when will this happen? Or why is this taking so long? We can shift our awareness to the present. We can ask, what is life teaching me now? Or how can I fully embrace this moment? In doing so, we dissolve anxiety and frustration. We step into a space of acceptance where we no longer fight against time but flow with it. There is immense freedom in surrendering to the now. It does not mean we stop moving forward or lose sight of our dreams. It simply means we trust the process. We recognize that if something is meant to be, it will come, not a moment too soon or too late, but precisely when it is meant to. And in the meantime, we live fully, knowing that this moment, right now, is already enough. Impatience arises from the mind's attachment to a specific outcome. It whispers that things should happen faster, that we should be further along, that waiting is a waste of time. But impatience is not a reflection of reality. It is a projection of the ego's desires. The ego, always restless, believes that fulfillment exists somewhere in the future, just beyond reach. It does not know how to be still. It does not trust the timing of life. Yet every moment of waiting is an opportunity to go deeper, not into frustration, but into presence. We often think of waiting as an empty space, a pause in life's progression. But waiting is not passive. It is not wasted time. It is a process of unfolding, a space where transformation takes place. Just as the night prepares the world for the sunrise, periods of waiting prepare us for what is coming. Without patience, we move through life in a constant state of resistance, missing the wisdom that each moment contains. Think of a tree. It does not force itself to grow faster. It does not compare its pace with other trees. It simply grows, trusting the seasons, allowing the process to unfold naturally. If it rushes, if it tries to force its branches to stretch too quickly, it will not develop the strength needed to withstand the storms ahead. We are no different. The things we desire, a new opportunity, a relationship, a breakthrough, arrive in their own time. If they come too soon, before we are ready, we may not be able to hold them. Patience teaches us trust. It invites us to step out of the mind's demands and into the rhythm of life itself. When we wait with awareness, we are not merely passing time, we are growing in understanding. We are being shaped by the experiences we might have otherwise resisted. Every moment of delay is a teacher, asking us to observe, to listen, to surrender. There is a deep stillness in patience. It is not the stillness of inaction, but the stillness of trust. It is the knowing that what is meant for us cannot be rushed. The mind often confuses waiting with lack, believing that if something has not yet arrived, it must mean we are being denied. But nothing real is ever denied. If something is not here now, it is because the right conditions have not yet aligned. And when they do, everything will unfold effortlessly, without struggle. When we embrace patience, we begin to see that life is not something to be forced, but something to be experienced. We no longer live in a state of constant longing for what is next. Instead, we immerse ourselves in what is now. We stop chasing the illusion that happiness exists somewhere in the future and realize that peace is available in every moment, even in the waiting. There is a lesson in every delay. There is wisdom in every unanswered question. And when the right moment arrives, we will understand why things happened the way they did. But until then, we must learn to be here now, to breathe, to trust, to surrender to the perfection of divine timing. Nothing is missing, nothing is lacking, everything is as it should be. When we release our need for immediate answers, we step into a deeper awareness, one that knows that waiting is not an obstacle, but a path that, if followed with patience, always leads us exactly where we are meant to be. Patience is often misunderstood. To many, it seems like inaction, passivity, or simply enduring time as it passes. But true patience is something much deeper. It is an active state of trust, a conscious choice to surrender to the rhythm of life rather than force outcomes before their time. It is not about waiting helplessly, but about waiting with awareness, with a quiet confidence that what is meant to be will arrive at the perfect moment. Impatience arises from the mind's need for control. The ego believes it knows the right timing for everything. It insists that success, love, healing, or clarity should come immediately. When things do not happen on its schedule, it resists, complains, and doubts. It asks, why is this taking so long? What if it never happens? This anxiety creates suffering, not because life is moving too slowly, but because we are struggling against its natural flow. But look at nature. The river does not force its way to the ocean, it flows. The tree does not demand that its branches grow overnight. It expands steadily, trusting the seasons. The caterpillar does not rush to become a butterfly. It undergoes transformation in the dark, unseen and untouched, until the perfect moment arrives for it to emerge. Everything in existence moves according to its own divine timing. Why, then, do we believe that we must rush through life? The truth is that waiting is not empty time. It is not an obstacle to overcome, but a sacred space where we are being shaped. Every delay, every period of stillness carries its own purpose. Sometimes we are being prepared for what is coming. Other times, what we desire is not yet ready for us. And often the waiting itself is the lesson. We are being invited to deepen our trust, to learn how to be present even when the future is unclear. When we embrace patience, we begin to understand that we do not need to see the whole picture to trust that it is unfolding perfectly. Imagine reading a book and trying to jump to the final chapter before understanding the story. It would make no sense. The same is true of life. Each moment, each experience is part of something greater, something we may not yet fully comprehend. But when we allow life to unfold naturally without force, we often look back and realize that everything happened exactly as it should. There is a kind of stillness that comes with patience, not a stillness of inactivity, but a stillness of trust. It is the ability to be at peace, even when things are uncertain. It is knowing that if something is meant for us, it will not pass us by. And if something is not happening yet, it is because it is not time. Patience is not about doing nothing. It is about doing what we can while trusting what we cannot control. It is about showing up fully in the present, knowing that the future will take care of itself. It is about surrendering the need for immediate answers and learning to sit comfortably in the unknown. Most of all, patience is a teacher. It shows us who we are when things do not go according to plan. It reveals the depth of our trust, the strength of our inner peace. It reminds us that life is not a race, but a journey, one that is meant to be experienced fully, not rushed through in search of the next milestone. When we truly understand patience, we no longer see waiting as an inconvenience. We see it as a gift, a time of growth, a time of preparation, a time of deepening our faith in the perfection of divine timing. And when the moment is right, everything will fall into place, not because we forced it, but because we trusted enough to let it happen naturally. Life is always unfolding in ways that we may not immediately understand. Every event, every delay, every unexpected turn is part of a much larger design, one that is beyond the limited grasp of the human mind. We often believe that we must have everything figured out, that we must see the full picture before we can trust the process. But just like a seed buried beneath the soil, much of what is happening in our lives is unseen. Growth takes place in silence, in stillness, in moments when we believe nothing is happening at all. We tend to measure life by visible progress, by tangible results. If something is not happening according to our expectations, we assume it is not happening at all. But this is a misunderstanding. The most profound transformations occur beneath the surface, where we cannot yet see them. A tree does not appear overnight. It begins as a small, fragile seed, hidden in darkness. It must break open before it can grow. If you were to watch this process from above the soil, you might think nothing is happening. But deep in the earth, the roots are forming, the foundation is being established. Without this phase, the tree would never stand strong. In the same way, life's timing is always perfect, even when we cannot see it. Sometimes what we perceive as a delay is actually a form of protection. We may want something immediately, but if it were given to us before we were ready, we might not be able to handle it. Other times, we are being redirected, not denied, but guided towards something even greater than we imagined. A closed door is never the end. It is simply a sign that another path is waiting to be revealed. The problem arises when we resist this natural unfolding. The mind, always impatient, believes that things should happen according to its timeline. It questions, doubts, and tries to force outcomes. But when we push against life, we create suffering. The river does not resist the rocks in its path. It flows around them. The sun does not rush to rise before its time. It moves in harmony with the universe. Everything in nature trusts its process. When we learn to do the same, we find peace. Think back to times in your life when things did not go as planned. Perhaps you were hoping for a particular job, a relationship, or an opportunity that never arrived when you wanted it to. At the time, it may have felt like a setback, a disappointment. But as time passed, perhaps you realized that what you thought you wanted was not what you truly needed. Perhaps something better, something unexpected, came into your life instead. This is the wisdom of divine timing. It does not operate according to human impatience. It does not conform to our schedules. Yet, when we look back, we see that everything happened exactly as it needed to. The challenges we faced strengthened us. The waiting periods taught us patience and trust. The moments of uncertainty prepared us for what was to come. The unfolding of life's plan is not something we need to control. It is something we need to allow. When we release the need to have all the answers, we create space for something greater than our own limited vision. We begin to move in alignment with life rather than against it. We start to see that nothing is truly missing, that nothing is happening too late or too soon. Everything is unfolding at the perfect pace, in the perfect way, at the perfect time. If we can trust this, we free ourselves from the burden of worry. We stop measuring our lives by how quickly things are happening and instead appreciate the beauty of how they are unfolding. We stop rushing, stop forcing, and start flowing. And in this state of trust, we finally understand. We were never waiting, we were always becoming. When we truly understand the perfection of divine timing, we no longer live in resistance to life's unfolding. We let go of the illusion that we must control every detail, and instead we learn to trust the rhythm of the universe. We begin to see that every delay, every redirection, and every unanswered question carries a purpose beyond what we can immediately comprehend. Impatience fades when we recognize that we are not waiting for life to begin. Life is happening now. The waiting itself is part of the process, shaping us, strengthening us, and preparing us for what is to come. We stop seeing uncertainty as a threat and start embracing it as an opportunity to grow in trust. By surrendering to the present moment, we free ourselves from the suffering caused by resistance. We align ourselves with the natural flow of life, understanding that nothing is truly missing, nothing is happening too late, and nothing is being withheld. What is meant for us will come, not a second too soon or too late, but precisely when it is meant to. In this space of trust, we find deep peace. We no longer chase after the future with anxious urgency. Instead, we live fully in the now, knowing that everything is already unfolding perfectly. And when the time is right, what we have been waiting for will arrive effortlessly, because it was never about forcing life to happen, but about allowing it to happen in its own divine time.